Winners. What does it mean? It doesn't mean win. It is not a victory. It does not constitute any more of external validation in the form of medals or acclamation. No, it goes much deeper than that. It isn't so much about arriving at a destination as it is a sense of being. It's a fundamental orientation towards life's challenges, a relentless decision to stand upright in the chaos, to not retreat into the shadow of despair or complacency. To call someone a winner is not to say they've achieved perfection, but that they've engaged with imperfection and chosen to persevere. Win is to rise when the path was already clear and success was promised, but only if it does not hurt, like now, when the road is bumpy, when insurmountable obstacles come up, when a step forward feels like crawling up a mountain while carrying the whole world on the shoulders. It is easy to picture winners as just a smooth, natural glide through life, having advantages that naturally mean success. In reality, this is very far from such an idealistic view. True winners are smelted and formed in adversity's fire. They are the ones who look failure in the eye and say, "I will not be defeated by this." They're the people who, despite the temptation to surrender, hold fast to the belief that progress is possible, no matter how difficult or incremental it may be. The first step toward being a winner is to understand that life, by its very nature, is a series of challenges. It is not a game in which one can win once and then rest on laurels. It is an eternal struggle, a dynamic interplay between order and chaos, between what you know and what you do not know. Winners are those who willingly enter into that struggle. They know there is suffering in life, but they take up the responsibility because they realize that meaning and purpose lie in carrying the weight. Now, what prevents most people from becoming winners is not a lack of talent or resources, it's a lack of will, failure to face the fear of failure. Fear of failure is a paralyzing force. It whispers insidiously in your ear, telling you to stay comfortable, to avoid risk, to protect yourself from embarrassment or pain. And in the short term, listening to that voice might bring relief. You might feel safer, less vulnerable. But in the long term, it leaves you stagnant. It prevents you from growing, from becoming more than you are today. Winners realize that fear is what it means to be a barrier, not a wall, but a challenge to be faced and overcome. Feeling a winner also means understanding that success does not come and it is not secured. It is the effort that is important. Winners know that sometimes they will stumble or even fail, but fail spectacularly. They have also learned, however, that failure is not the end. It is just one step on the way. Every time you fail, you have a choice. You can let it define you or use it to propel you forward. And that is not something that is to be said casually. It's a profound truth rooted in the very nature of human resilience. The process of striving, enduring setbacks, and learning from them is what builds the strength and character required for anything meaningful to be achieved. Winners understand the concept of discipline. They know the path to success is not paved with grand gestures or bursts of inspiration, but with small, consistent actions. It's about showing up every day, even when you don't feel like it, even when progress seems slow or non-existent. There is a big psychological principle underlying this. You become what the habits you construct, and the habits you stick to represent. Winners adopt habits that build towards their goals, not habits for short-term wins. They set up long-game gains over pleasure. They will know that when they say yes to one thing, they are saying no to another as well. This discipline also extends their mindset. Winners are not immune to negative thoughts or self-doubt, but they don't let those thoughts control them. They focus on what they can do, on the actions within their control, rather than being consumed by what they can't change. This is not blind optimism. It's a practical approach to life. It's about focusing your energy where it will have the greatest impact, rather than wasting it on things that are beyond your influence. This mindset, this ability to focus on the controllable, is a hallmark of a winner. And winners understand the value of purpose. They don't just chase goals for the sake of achievement or external validation. They connect their effort to something profound, something connected to their core beliefs and values. This sense of purpose is one's guiding star, a beacon of motivation pushing them forward at the darkest of moments. Purpose adds meaning to one's struggles. It turns obstacles to opportunities for growing and setbacks as stepping stones on the way ahead. And they cannot forget resiliency. They do not get out of the struggles of life. Instead, they go through them head on. What makes the difference is the ability to spring back, adapt, and learn. Resilience is not about enduring, but growing through it. It's about looking at a challenge and asking, what can I learn from this? How can I become stronger because of this? This attitude calls for humility, the readiness to acknowledge that you are not good at everything, that you are not perfect, but you are in the process of betterment. Winners embrace this humility. They see every experience, even the painful ones, as an opportunity to refine themselves. It has a sense of thankfulness. In the context of striving and ambition, it is paradoxical to talk about gratitude, but it is important. Winners appreciate opportunities, even the challenges, for they know these experiences shape them. Gratitude keeps them humble. It will not let envy or bitterness consume them, because these are things that can take over even the best of people. Lastly, winners recognize the interconnectedness of their journey with the people around them. They do not succeed in isolation. They build relationships, seek mentors, collaborate with others, and contribute to their communities. They understand that true success is not a solitary endeavor. It's something that enriches not only their own lives, but the lives of others as well. To stay on course and not quit is to exercise an enduring discipline of humankind's fundamental perseverance. Whatever the test is, whether tough or intimidating, to stay there is a sort of spiritual reflection of how truly to live in life itself. The unpredictable situation it brings to its face, a state of disorder or chaos. But in that chaos lies the opportunity to shape something meaningful, and it is precisely in the moments when the difficulty is most intense that the value of persistence reveals itself most clearly. Why is it so important not to quit? What is it about the act of continuing despite pain, fear, and uncertainty that is so crucial to the human condition? The answer lies in the way we interact with the world, and the way the world, in turn, interacts with us. Life is not a passive experience. It is a relationship, a dynamic interplay between our internal state, our thoughts, emotions, and will, and the external realities we face. If you do not give up, then you declare the universe the message, I am here and I won't be beaten. It's a declaration not only of resistance, but also a witness to the existence of possibility that may or may not be even little incremental change. However, persistence, when it becomes difficult, is not about just having force of will. It takes deeper, more sophisticated something. To rise above and keep moving, even when the twists and turns of a situation render a tenuous situation hopeless, requires a level of self-awareness that is rare but attainable. You need first to face your facts clearly and honestly. It doesn't come easy. The human tendency is to avoid discomfort, to turn away from pain, and to hide from truths that threaten to destabilize our carefully constructed sense of self. Yet to persist, you must look at the reality of your circumstances without flinching. You must face it head on, however terrifying it might be, because only then can you begin to chart a path forward. When you will not quit, you are creating an act of transformation. This is the activity of taking upon the chaos and suffering of life and shaping them into something close to order and meaning. Central to human existence is this action of transformation. It enables us to grow, learn, and become more than we are. It's not just a matter of getting to a point or crossing some sort of finish line. It's the journey of becoming, of growing into someone who can meet life's demands with poise and grit. Persistence is not easy. It requires a great deal of bravery and work. To persist is to bear with discomfort, to endure uncertainty, and to negotiate the inevitable setbacks that accompany anything worthwhile. And yet, this very difficulty is what makes persistence so valuable. When you persist, You're exercising a kind of psychological muscle, a muscle that grows stronger each time you use it. Over time, this strength becomes a fundamental part of who you are. It is then a source of resilience, a wellspring of inner fortitude that you can draw upon even at the darkest of moments. However, here's the paradox, and there's more to it. Persistence is not the same thing as stubbornness. It does not mean being foolish enough to ignore the reality of your situation, pushing blindly forward without heed. True persistence demands wisdom. It calls for adaptability, reassessment of approach, and making necessary adjustments. It is a fine line, and many people find it difficult to tread that line. To persist without wisdom is to risk wasting your energy on endeavors that are not aligned with your values or your goals. But to quit without careful consideration is to deny yourself the opportunity to grow through struggle. The key, then, is to cultivate a mindset that allows you to persist intelligently. It means developing the capacity to distinguish between temporary setbacks and insurmountable obstacles. It means learning to recognize when your efforts are bearing fruit, even if the progress is not immediately apparent, and it means having the humility to seek guidance and support when you need it, rather than isolating yourself in the belief that you must face every challenge alone. Among the most powerful tools to sustain such a mindset is connecting your efforts to a broader purpose. As you understand your reason for being in a place, it automatically becomes easier to bear with whatever challenges are certain to arise as you journey ahead. Such a purpose may be of little importance to others. It could be as simple as wanting to provide for your family, make a positive impact on your community, or become the best version of yourself. What matters is that it resonates with you on a deep level, that it gives you a reason to keep going even when the road is steep and the way forward is unclear. It is also important to note that persistence is not a solo activity. While the decision to continue is yours, the support of others can make all the difference. Human beings are social creatures, and we draw strength from our relationships with others. When you surround yourself with people who believe in you, who encourage you, and who remind you of your potential, it becomes much easier to keep moving forward. This is not a sign of weakness. It is a reflection of the interconnected nature of human existence. Persistence also involves a certain degree of faith, not necessarily religious faith, though that can be a powerful source of motivation for some, but faith in the broader sense. Faith in the idea that your efforts matter. Faith in the possibility of change. Faith in your own capacity to grow and adapt. This faith is not blind or irrational. It is rooted in the evidence of your own experience. Every time you have faced a challenge and overcome it, every time you have learned something new or achieved something difficult, you have reinforced the idea that persistence pays off. At its core, the refusal to quit is an act of hope. It's a realization that your future is not set in stone. Your life story is still being written, and you can determine the course of that. Such hope is not naive or wishful thinking. It's a grounded recognition of the possibilities that exist, even within hardship. And it is this hope with action which lets you carry on. This process of perseverance is very interlinked with developing character. The more you continue to not give up, the more you are forging the person whom you are growing to be. You're building on strength, toughness, and character. And this kind of strength helps you in almost all aspects of life. That is not limited to achieving the goal. Rather, it becomes someone who, despite facing challenges in life, can fight against them and continue forward with greater determination and more strength. Quitters. They are not just those who quit a particular thing or goal. To quit is not just to cease an activity. It is, in some deep sense, to lose faith in the possibility of improvement. To quit is to retreat, to withdraw, to surrender to the voice in your mind that says, it's too hard, or I am not good enough, or worst of all, it doesn't matter. It is an act of surrender to the idea that the world, with all its barriers and complexities, is too much to bear, and that one's work is insufficient or purposeless. This is not merely a pragmatic choice. It's a psychological and moral breakdown. In order to explain the psychology of quitting, one needs to begin by thinking about potential. People are the only living things that can see a future which is superior to their present and take action to bring it into being. We are beings of imagination and of action, seeing not only what is, but also what might be. This power gives us a deep sense of purpose, but it also burdens us with responsibility. If you can see a better future, you are implicitly tasked with moving toward it. To quit is to abandon that responsibility. It is to say, I will no longer strive to make the world better or myself better, because I believe the effort is futile. But is it futile? That's the question. Or is that merely the tale we tell ourselves to make our retreats sound less painful? Most often it is the latter. Quitting rarely has much to do with an impossible situation's logic. Far more often, it's an emotional reaction to fear, frustration, or fatigue. Fear tells you that you are going to fail, that you are going to look foolish, that your efforts are not enough. Frustration whispers that progress is too slow, that obstacles are too many, that others are more talented or better equipped. Fatigue convinces you that you are too tired, that the work is too hard, that rest is more appealing than perseverance. These voices are seductive, but they are also deceptive. They exaggerate the difficulty of the task and minimize your capacity to overcome it. As you surrender, you in effect let those voices explain your reality. You are accepting their story, that the task is impossible, that the pain will be too much to bear, that the reward cannot be achieved. And by so doing, you strip from yourself the chance to see whether they are true or not. You are taking away the opportunity to set a limit, learn, grow, and make something worthwhile. This is not only a loss in practical terms, it is a loss of self-respect. When you quit, you are saying, I am not capable, I am not strong enough, I am not worthy of the effort. And that belief, once internalized, can be devastating. But it's not just the quitter who suffers. Quitting has a ripple effect that extends beyond the individual. It shows them when you quit, and it communicates something to those who surround you, their family, friends, colleagues, and community. It sends out the signal that it's all right to quit. It is all right to relinquish responsibility, all right to pull back when faced with adversity. This is not to say that you bear the weight of the world on your shoulders, but it is to acknowledge that your actions, whether you realize it or not, influence others. When you persist, you inspire those around you to do the same. When you quit, you give them permission to quit as well. And yet, quitting is often framed as an act of self-care or wisdom. I'm protecting myself, people say. I'm choosing my battles. I'm letting go of what no longer serves me. There is some truth in these statements, but they are also fraught with danger. There is a fine line between letting go of something genuinely harmful or unproductive and avoiding something simply because it is hard. So it is one thing to walk away from a toxic situation that's poisoning your well-being. It's another thing altogether to walk away from a challenge that is difficult but worthwhile. The former is an act of discernment. The latter is an act of avoidance. Quitting, at its core, is a failure to confront. It is a rejection from coming to terms with reality in your life as well as holding yourself accountable for your part of it. That doesn't mean every fight wins or every striving is triumphantly met with reward, but this does mean that the act of trying itself, continuing, persisting, is valuable in and of itself. It is in effort that we learn, grow, and become more than we were before. Quitting short-circuits that process. It freezes you in place, trapping you in a state of inaction and regret. Regret is one of the heaviest burdens a person can carry. It is the voice that says, what if? What if I had tried harder? What if I had pushed through? What if I had given it one more day, one more hour, one more attempt? Regret is not about what you missed, but about who you could have become. Quitting means you shut the door on that possibility. You prefer to stay within the lines and safety of the known, rather than the uncertainty of the unknown. Safety, however, is not the same as fulfillment. It is a poor substitute for the sense of accomplishment that comes from overcoming a challenge and emerging stronger on the other side. This is not to say that failure does not hurt. It does. It can be crushing. But failure is not the same as quitting. Failure is the result of an honest attempt. Quitting is the refusal to make that attempt. Failure teaches you something. Quitting teaches you nothing. Failure is a stepping stone. Quitting is a dead end. By failing, you at least get to reflect, learn, adapt, and try again. When you quit, that opportunity is completely lost. Quitting is often disguised as some form of control. I'm choosing to stop, people say, as though the act of quitting is an assertion of power. But true power lies in persistence. True power lies in the ability to endure, to adapt, to innovate, and to overcome. Quitting is not control. It is surrender. It is the relinquishment of agency, the abdication of responsibility, the admission of defeat. And it is a vicious habit to form, for the more you quit, the easier it becomes to quit again. With each retreat in the face of difficulty, you strengthen the conviction that you can't do it, that the effort is not worthwhile, that the task is too much. This belief can then become a self-fulfilling prophecy, a cycle of avoidance and inaction that erodes your confidence and undermines your potential. The tragedy of quitting is not what you lose at that moment, it's what you lose down the road. It is what opportunities never got taken, lessons never learned, strength never built. It's a life one could have had and the person one might have been had you made different choices, like not quitting. The price is incommensurate with this loss. Winning is not accidental. It has nothing to do with luck, and is not caused by the coincidental alignment of external circumstances favoring you. Winning is, in reality, the outcome of a process with its roots planted in discipline, perseverance, and relentless pursuit toward improvement. To win is to embody a way of being, a way of navigating the challenges of life with courage, competence, and conviction. It is not something that happens to you. It is something that you create through effort, intention, and an unwavering commitment to growth. What does it mean to win? At first glance, the idea of winning seems straightforward. It's about achieving a goal, surpassing a standard, or coming out ahead in a competition. But winning is more than that. It's not only external validation or measurable success. In fact, true winning is all about mastering oneself. It is overcoming the internal obstacles that stand in the way of your potential. It's standing face to face with your fears, showing them your weaknesses, and pushing through the resistance that threatens to hold you back. It's about becoming the kind of person who is capable of achieving great things, not just for the sake of the achievement itself, but for the sake of the transformation that occurs along the way. Winning is a process, and like any process, it begins with a choice. It begins with the decision to commit yourself to something greater than your immediate comfort or convenience. This is not something that should be taken lightly. It is a judgment call that necessitates you taking an honest, humble look at the reality of the situation. For you to be able to triumph, you will have to acknowledge first and foremost where you stand, what you can do, and what you are willing to sacrifice to start moving forward from here. Such is not a light undertaking. It entails self-awareness, discipline, and the preparedness to face awkward truths. But it is only through this process of self-examination that you can start to chart a path towards success. But winning also requires a vision, a clear and compelling picture of what you are striving for. Not having a vision leaves your efforts aimless, energy dissipated, and potential wasted. A vision provides you with direction, focus, and motivation. It gives you a reason to endure the inevitable difficulties that arise along the way. And it is not enough to have a vague or abstract idea of what you want to achieve. Your vision must be specific, tangible, and deeply meaningful to you. It must resonate with your values, your passions, and your sense of purpose. It must be something that excites you, challenges you, and inspires you to give your best effort. But having a vision is not enough. Winning requires action. Consistent, deliberate, and often uncomfortable action. It requires you to take the first step, even when you are uncertain or afraid. It requires you to keep moving forward, even when progress is slow or setbacks occur. And it requires perseverance, even when the temptation to quit is strong. This is where most people fail. They have a vision but lack the discipline to follow it through. They are motivated in the moment, but they lack the resilience to sustain their efforts over time. To win, you have to be willing to do the hard work day in and day out, regardless of how you feel or what obstacles you encounter. Winning also demands a willingness to learn. It requires you to adopt a mindset of curiosity, humility, and openness to new ideas. You must be willing to make mistakes, to fail, and to learn from those failures. You have to be open to getting feedback, to listening to criticism, and to using that feedback to improve. This is not a comfortable process, but it is an essential one. Winning is not about perfection. It is about progress. It is about becoming a little bit better today than you were yesterday and a little bit better tomorrow than you are today. This is the process of continuous improvement that sets the foundation for success and differentiates between the winners and the wishers. The other thing about winning is how to control your emotions. The path to success is littered with frustrations, disappointments, and challenges. Sometimes you will feel overwhelmed, discouraged, or defeated. There will be moments when you wonder if it's all worth it, if you can actually do it, or if you should just stop altogether. Such feelings are normal, but they should not drive your decisions. To win, you have to learn to control your emotions, to stay focused on your vision, and to keep moving forward despite the obstacles you encounter. This is not about suppressing your emotions or pretending that they do not exist. It is about acknowledging them, understanding them, and using them as fuel for your journey. Winning also requires a strong support system. No one achieves success alone. Behind every great achievement is a network of people who have provided encouragement, guidance, and support. Surround yourself with people who believe in you, challenge you to be the best version of yourself, and keep you accountable to your goals. These are relationships that provide you with a sense of strength as well as motivation. They remind you of what you can do. They push you beyond where you ever thought you could go, and they celebrate with you. At the same time, you must be willing to let go of relationships that undermine your efforts or pull you away from your goals. Winning requires you to be selective about the people you allow into your life and to prioritize those who uplift and inspire you. Finally, winning is about responsibility. It is about taking ownership of your life, your choices, and your outcomes. It is about realizing that you have the power to change your destiny and that the fruits of your efforts are a result of the labor you put into it. It is empowering but daunting at the same time. This means that you cannot blame anyone else for your failure, nor can you rely on others to make you successful. But it also gives you the capacity to build a life that you want if you are willing to work for it. This is a sense of responsibility that forms the heart of winning. This is what propels you forward when things are against you, making you keep pushing, striving, and improving. Winning is not a destination, but a journey. It is not just a point of victory, but a method of living life, having a goal in mind, perseverance, and resilience. It is about rising up to the challenge, learning from failures, and continually working on being better. It's about recognizing the fact that what's important to achieve is how one becomes the best version in the process. The true success isn't what's achieved out there, but the person being created in the process.